I just got back from the Star Wars Unlimited community celebration event. Xander totally destroyed me on stream, but that's okay. At this incredible event, Fantasy Flight Games finally announced the rules for their casual multiplayer format called Twin Suns. After we heard those rules, a group of us just cracked all of our packs and built the best Twin Suns decks that we could, and we played Twin Suns all night long. We played, I think, 7 or 8 games in total, and I am absolutely loving this format. So in this video, for everyone who might have missed it, I just want to go through the rules changes and all the details you need to know to play the Twin Suns format, as well as talk about some of the things that excite me about this. Let's jump into it. What's up everyone, it's Dan with Main Deck, and like I said, today we are talking about the Star Wars Unlimited format called Twin Suns, a format designed for a casual multiplayer experience that allows you to pull off some really cool interactions that you can't get anywhere else. Starting with the basics, Twin Suns is a format for the Star Wars Unlimited TCG that is built for 3 or 4 players to play a free-for-all game. However, I can say that we tried several games with 5 players and honestly, it still worked fine, so feel free to let that 5th friend jump into your game as well. When playing Twin Suns, much of the game is the same. Players still play their units to their space or ground arenas, and as the game is a free-for-all, players are free to declare attacks against any appropriate target of any opponent at the table using the same rules as the regular game. However, here are a few major changes to how the gameplay works. Instead of a player winning by eliminating all of their opponents, a Twin Suns game ends at the end of the phase when at least one player has been defeated. At the end of that phase, the player who has the most HP remaining on their base is the winner. While this might cause players to jam a lot of healing effects in their decks, and we'll actually talk about some cards that we think are going to get a lot stronger and be surprisingly effective in Twin Suns in a video next week. An additional rule is that whenever a player is defeated, the player who dealt the final blow to that player's base gets to restore 5 HP from their own base. Because of these rule changes, as the game gets to the late stage, there is a lot of interesting jockeying for health position and politics that can go down as players try to position themselves advantageously to steal the game. But as soon as one player is knocked out, the game is due to end shortly, and there's no waiting around for your 3 friends to finish their hours-long game while you watch from the sidelines. I think players who are familiar with other highly popular casual multiplayer formats in other TCGs might enjoy these rules quite a bit and might even find the rules for ending the game a breath of fresh air in some ways. Now, 2 more big rule changes exist that will totally change up how you take your actions in a game of Twin Suns. First, in addition to the initiative token, which is still here, Twin Suns games also use a blast token and a plan token. All these tokens can be taken just like the initiative token with that action, and with 4 players this means that only 1 player will be left without an added benefit at the end of each phase, rather than having 3. The initiative token remains roughly the same, just that in each phase, play will begin with the player who took the initiative, and then rotate clockwise around the table. The blast token, when taken, will deal 1 damage to each opponent's base, pushing the game towards that end state, and the plan token will allow the player claiming it to draw a card and then place a card from their hand on the bottom of their deck, helping them smooth out draws that might not be ideal for them. Just like initiative, once a player claims one of these tokens, they must pass the rest of the phase, and no other player can take it until the next phase. Now, the final rules change for gameplay in Twin Suns is that there are no longer any soft passes. In other words, you cannot pass in Twin Suns and still take actions later. If you pass in Twin Suns, you are done for the phase. This prevents gameplay from stalling out massively, as multiple players would take consecutive pass actions while other players play cards, keeping this casual multiplayer format surprisingly snappy, with games often lasting about 15 to 20 minutes per player in the game. Now, your deck in Twin Suns will be built entirely differently than the decks you might build for the Premier or Limited formats. That's because, true to its name, in Twin Suns you will build a deck around 2 leaders and 1 base, instead of just 1. You are free to pick any 2 different leaders as long as they both share either the heroism or villainy aspect. This gives rise to some super interesting deck strategies. Here are a few that I actually got to see played over the weekend. Sabine and Leia. I'm sure many of you jumped to this right away, and yes, this is a powerful and aggressive combination of leaders that has the ability to steal away games in the late game with access to Leia's double attack ability. Knocking out 2 players at once gives you an immediate restore 10 and leaves only one opponent standing, so this deck must be respected. Iden and Boba. This was the deck I was playing, and it did some extremely cool things. Both leaders are interested in my opponent's units being defeated, so while I played a lot of board control to gain both tempo advantage and keep my health restoring, I didn't have to be the one to defeat them to gain the benefits, which gave me a leg up in the late game as boards became threatening and players became eager to keep knocking out threats. Jin and Luke. Both of these leaders can deploy on the same turn, and both of them make it harder for your units to be defeated. It was surprisingly obnoxious to try and deal with this board of 2 huge leaders that protect their own board and police the opponents. And even if one could be dealt with, players rarely had enough tools to deal with both on the same turn. Krennic and the Grand Inquisitor. Shout out to Xander from FFG for showing off this list. These 2 leaders work beautifully together. The Inquisitor is able to damage and ready Krennic, allowing you to swing multiple times with his potent Restore 2 in the same turn, and turning on his damage buff from being damaged. There are, of course, many more combinations to explore. In fact, with 9 leaders in each aspect of heroism and villainy, there are a total of 72 possible combinations on each side, or 144 different leader combinations in total in set 1 alone, and that's before we add in the base. Of course, with these 2 leaders and a base, you have access to up to 3 different aspects in your deck, or 2 with one being doubled up to allow you to play those powerful double aspect cards without penalty, while still having 2 aspects in your deck. This opens up even more interesting card combinations in the main deck. There is one final deck building rule, and that is that you may only play 1 copy of each card in your main deck rather than up to 3. Giving games of Twin Suns a high variance in gameplay experience, which is often valued by casual multiplayer aficionados. During sets 1 through 3, the deck size will remain 50 cards, just like Premier. However, this is actually a reduced deck size to fit having a relatively small card pool. When the format was conceived, it was done with a larger internal card pool. Thus, when the game reaches its 4th set in 2025, the deck size for Twin Suns will grow to its original design of 80 card decks, still using the singleton card format. In our experience so far, Twin Suns has been an absolute blast to play, even with our limited card pools, but as the game grows through set 2 and beyond, the gameplay should only get more bombastic and fun. I will certainly be building plenty of Twin Suns decks, both to cover my favorite 2 character combinations and just to explore the different strategies that you can unlock when you get to mix 2 leaders together. If you enjoy the look of this format, I highly recommend that you check it out and give it a try, and make sure you stay tuned here to Main Deck because we'll be covering plenty of Twin Suns along with our other SWU content going into the future. I hope you enjoyed this brief look at Twin Suns, and please let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about the Twin Suns format? Are you looking forward to giving it a try, or have you already played it, or is this not the format for you? I would love to read your comments and chat with you about it down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one, and we'll see you in the next one.